Staying in contact. I'm London Mitchell. Here is a new term for me, and maybe for you too. Food insecurity. It's defined as not having enough food to feed all the members of a household on a consistent basis. And if you look at all 50 states, Ohio ranks 14th in the nation in terms of insecure households. Food insecurity is our topic today, and with me to discuss the issue is local author Anthony Knopps, whose new book is But We Only Have One Grape. It's a children's book, but carries the message of the growing problem of food insecurity to adults as well. I've known Anthony for a long time, and am honored to call him friend. He's an award-winning journalist, college instructor, and the author of the political thriller A Page in History. So one would think writing a children's book might be considered a bit out of character for him.
Yes and no. It's still storytelling, and I think that's still important. In a lot of ways, writing a 800 word or 1200 word children's story is a lot more difficult than writing a 60,000 word manuscript, because in a story of that length you can afford to take a detour, so to speak. In a children's story, every word has to have value, and that makes you have to be laser focused on what you're doing. So out of character, yeah, maybe, but I think the topic's important. I think uh, um, the reasons for doing it are of value, and it's like the book Page in History was sort of a cautionary tale about what could happen in a democracy. This is another cautionary tale of what happens when we don't, uh, focus on making sure children get fed.
What was your motivation to hit this topic? And it's an important topic. I don't think it gets enough publicity, so to speak, or enough focus.
It really doesn't get any kind of a focus. I mean, you can't walk down the street and go, "You're food insecure. You're food insecure. You're not." My daughter, who recently graduated from St. Mary's College in South Bend, there's a little school across the street with the Golden Dome, but we don't talk too much about them. Her senior thesis was on food deserts. And we got to talking, and she's like, "This is a huge issue." And the more I got into the subject, the more I figured this is something that needs to have increased awareness, and that's really what we're going for here. Because a children's story, by its very nature, is something that's read to children, i.e., a parent, a caregiver, a brother, an older brother, older sister reads that story to a child, and wanted to make sure that the child grasps the story and the cute cuddly elements of it, so to speak. But the adult in the room, or the older person in the room, comes away with it as, wow, this is something we really need to do something about. And so it's twofold. The audience is twofold, but that's where the genesis of the idea came from. I was fortunate through my academic connections to find a illustrator who believed in the mission, a retired Marine, and he was able to bring the characters to life in a way that I couldn't. My contribution to the art world is a stick figure, so he's He's very, very good at that, and brought emotion to the character, and showed the very real challenge that a second grader has when trying to solve these problems, and that's hard.
How did you get yourself focused on being able to write to a second grader, to be able to communicate with that second grader, and as you said, be able to also communicate with the adult reading the story? That seems like you'd need some special kind of insight.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we had a second grader in the house, so uh, that really wasn't an acceptable avenue to try to figure out tone and tenor. But there were a lot of research that I did, a lot of conversations I had with people about just how big a problem it is, and what I kept coming back to, because there was a common thread in all these conversations, was we have to do something for the child, because these are the people that are going to be part of society in the next 15, 20, 25 years. And when you look at food insecurity, defining it as people who are not, they don't know where a next meal is going to come from. That adds stress. There's a psychological impact to that. There's a little bit of a shame factor, but more than anything else, what comes down to it is there's a reduction in cognitive ability. And when you look at just the sheer numbers, I mean, we're in the United States, and we have 1 in 6 children, roughly, that live in a food insecure household. In Ohio, we're 14th in the country in terms of food insecurity. In Lucas County, we're number 2 in the state. There are roughly 25,000 children in Lucas County that live in a food insecure household. Those numbers are astonishing to me. When you look at the other counties in the state, the challenges that leaders have, and this is where the political creature in me starts to win out. You're like, why is this not a bigger question? Why is this not a bigger issue? And the food banks and the charities and all of them, they do fantastic work. They're able to stretch a dollar in ways that we can only imagine, but they can only do so much. We have to, as a society, figure out how we're going to solve this problem. And if this book raises awareness about that, even in a very small point, then the mission is a success.
You've written it for young children. You're never too young to start to learn.
Exactly.
And to become sensitive to this issue.
Yeah, no, I know, absolutely. Some of the, when you look at food bank contributions, and a lot of times it's, parents who bring their children to donate, or you look at the holiday dinners. When my daughter was in athletics, they, took the team down and helped to, serve meals. They worked at the food pantry. If you condition, I don't know if the condition is the right word, but if you expose children to the importance of not a handout, but a hand up, then I think you you start to create the right kind of culture to address these things.
Where can people find the book?
It is all over the place. It came out on the 13th. The pre-sale was, incredible from what I have heard from the publisher. But they can order it at Barnes and Noble. They can order it at Amazon. They can order it through independent bookstores like Gathering Volumes in Perrysburg. They can order it on my website, which is anthonyknopps.com. And part of this is not just a book, but it's a way to help with food access, because a portion of the proceeds will go towards food access efforts. Because food insecurity is the problem, food access is the solution. And finding ways to do that, that's what it's all about.
Staying in contact. I'm London Mitchell. My guest is local author Anthony Knopps, whose latest book, But We Only Have One Grape, is about the growing issue in this country of food insecurity. Anthony tells me he has another book coming out very soon.
My Daddy Has a Headache. It's a story of how to talk to your kids about traumatic brain injuries. The story revolves around a kid whose father comes home from serving overseas and is dealing with a traumatic brain injury, and the child is like, well, I get headaches, but you're saying he has a headache all the time? I don't understand, and walks through the journey of exploration, because it's important, because 41% of returning service members have some level of a traumatic brain injury, which that number is astonishing to me.
Say that again?
Yeah, 41% of returning and you wouldn't think that. And there's degrees of severity to that, but that's important to me. Obviously, I sustained a traumatic brain injury in 2019, so I don't call myself a survivor, because you don't really survive these. You're just you recalibrate. Your life is different. There are things that you can and cannot do, and that varies on a day-to-day basis. So survivor implies that you overcome it. That's not entirely accurate. So we're hoping through the publisher, which is University of Toledo Press. So shout out to Yarko at UT Press to get that out in the first or second quarter of 23. And they understand, because every day is a day that is a privilege to be here for me, because I shouldn't be here. And it's not flip, it's not self-serving, it's accurate. I should not be here. So why not take every day as an opportunity to actually go and do something, and to make a difference, and to try to raise awareness about these issues, about food insecurity, about whatever, because what is your legacy? If you were not here tomorrow, how would people remember you? And when you have a traumatic brain injury, you look at things you can do to sort of make things a little better around you, and hopefully that boosts your spirits too.
Local author Anthony Knopps. His website is anthonyknopps.com. I'm London Mitchell. Please join me at the same time next week, when we will again be staying in contact as we take time out to discuss important issues and meet individuals working to improve our quality of life.